Stanza number 1. I saw you toss the kites on high and blow the birds about the sky. And all around I heard you pass like ladies' skirts across the grass. O wind, a blowing all day long, O wind that sings so loud a song. Stanza number 2. I saw the different things you did, but always you yourself you hid. I felt you push, I heard you call. I could not see yourself at all. O wind, are blowing all day long. O wind, that sings so loud a song. Stanza number 3. O you that are strong and cold, O blower, are you young or old? Are you a beast of field and tree, or just a stronger child than me? O wind, are blowing all day long. O wind, that sing so loud a song. Dear students, let's do the explanation of each stanzas. This poem has got 3 stanzas. So first of all, we are going to do the explanation of stanza number 1. Stanza number 1. I saw you toss the kites on high and blow the birds about the sky, and all around I heard you pass like ladies' skirts across the grass. O wind, are blowing all day long, O wind that sings so loud a song. In this stanza, in the very stanza, the poet imagines himself to be a young boy. As the poet says, I saw you toss the kites on high, the poet expresses his great astonishment about the wind. He says that he could not feel the wind as it touches to his body, but he could only feel it. He could not see it, but he could feel it. The poet says that I saw you toss the kites on high, which means that he cannot see the wind. What he says, he cannot see the wind throwing the kites high above in the sky and blow the birds about the sky. It means that he can also see it blowing the birds here and there in the sky. The poet further says, and all around I heard you pass. The poet says that the wind pushes all the birds here and there, and sometimes the movement is upward and sometimes the movement is downward. And all around I heard you pass like ladies' skirts across the grass. Here, the poet can hear the wind all around, as in the rustling of the leaves, and the poet can also hear the wind in the frolicking sound of ladies' skirt across the grass. And how the poet can hear it? Yes, when the wind touches the leaves and touches the lady's skirt, a sound is produced, and this is how the poet can hear the sound of the wind. Here, basically, in these lines, the poet has given comparison by saying that the poet can hear the sound. And how the poet can hear the sound? Yes, when it touches the things, a sound is produced. And all around I heard you pass as ladies skirt across the grass. Here, a comparison is made between two things which have at least one thing in common. The poet has used here a simile that when wind touches the things, a sound is produced. Similarly, a sound is produced when lady's skirt touches the grass. A sound is produced. So in the last 2 lines, the poet says that, O wind, are blowing all day long, O wind, that sing so loud a song. Here the poet says that in last 2 lines that basically here the poet has personified human beings to wind. How personified has been employed in these 2 lines by the poet? Yes, the poet says that human beings sing song and make noise. So when the wind touches the thing, it makes noise too. So what happens? Yes, a comparison is made. There is a comparison because human beings sing song, a sound is produced, a noise is produced because they make noise. And when the wind touches the thing, it makes noise too. So this is called personification, in which non-living things are compared to living things or abstract idea. In the last 2 lines, the poet has personified human beings, and how this is what I have explained to you. Stanza number 2. I saw the different things you did, but always you yourself you hid. I felt you push, I heard you call. I could not see yourself at all. O wind, a blowing all day long, O wind that sings so loud a song. Here in the second stanza of the poem, the poet says that he can see many things you did here. It means the poet is referring to the wind, which means that the poet can see many things which are touched or which are hit by the, yes, by the wind. As the poet says that in the second stanza of the poem, in the first stanza of the poem, throwing the kites, blowing the birds, rustling sound of the grass, frolicking sound of ladies' skirts. Like the poet says that, as in the very stanza mentioned, how many things? The throwing the kites, blowing the birds, rustling sound of the grass, frolicking sound of the lady's skirt. By keeping all these things in movement, what happened afterwards? The poet says, but always you yourself you hid. I could not see yourself at all. So the poet says that I saw the different things you did. Different things the poet is referring. In the first stanza, the poet has mentioned different things. And then he says, but always you yourself you hid. I felt you push, I heard you call. I could not see yourself at all. The poet says that, but you yourself hid. The wind hides somewhere. The poet is unable to see it. The poet says that the wind has quality to hide itself. And then the poet is unable to see the wind. But again he can feel the wind. How the poet can again feel the wind? Pushing the body. Although the wind is hidden somewhere. But again the poet is feeling something. What the poet feels? The poet feels the pressure of the wind because it pushes his body. The poet calls the wind where it has gone because the poet wants to see it. The poet again and again says that he cannot see it, but he can only feel it. Now he says that the wind has the quality that it hides. How does wind look like? Here the poet also says that how the wind look like, the poet is much in awe condition. And again the last two lines of the stanza which have been repeated in the first stanza as well. The poet personifies wind to human beings, making sound loudly and making noise. O wind are blowing all day long, O wind that sings so loud a song. The wind is personified to human beings making sound loudly and making noise. The wind makes noise when it touches to numerous things, and human beings sing song and make noise. So it is, yes, it is personification, but at the same time, in figurative language, the repetition occurs at the end of every verse's refrain. In second stanza of the poem, the poet sees the result of the wind's movement rather than the wind itself. Stanza number 3. O you that are so strong and cold. O blower, are you young or old? Are you a beast of field and tree, or just a stronger child than me? O wind are blowing all day long, O wind that sings so loud a song. This is the third and the last stanza of the poem. In the third and the last stanza of the poem, the poet here describes the characteristics of the wind which could be heard but could not be seen. The poet is again and again in all stanzas saying that he could only feel the wind but he cannot see it. The wind has the quality to hid itself. The poet admits that wind is very strong and cold by saying, "Oh, you that are so strong and cold." The poet says that wind is not only strong as it pushes the body, but the wind is also cold as well because the poet can feel the cool breeze of the wind when it touches to his body. So wind has the quality that it pushes the things, but at the same time the wind is cold as well because the poet feels the cool breeze of the wind. When it touches to his body, the poet feels it. And when it touches to body, again the poet feels the cool breeze of the wind. So the poet's surprise is growing as he says, "Oh blower, are you young or old?" The poet is in great awe and surprise. Whether the wind is young or old, are you a beast of field and tree? Here in this stanza, in the last stanza, the poet is asking many questions. "Oh blower, are you young or old? Oh, just a stronger child than me." Here are different questions being asked by the wind. Are you a beast of field and tree? Whether the wind is a beast or animal of field and tree, or just a stronger child than me. So these are the questions. It is in these lines the speaker's identity as a child is revealed because the poet here says that, "Are you a beast of field and tree, or just a stronger child than me?" Here in this very verse or the line, the speaker's identity as a child is revealed. It makes the inquisitive statements in the previous stanza easier to understand. The poet is in great astonishment or in great wonder or in great surprise that the poet is asking all from the wind because he cannot see the wind. The last two lines, "Oh wind, blowing all day long, oh wind that sings so loud a song." The last two lines, which are repeated in the above two stanzas as well, the poet asks the wind to hear his call as the wind blows all day long, restlessly blowing it, sings so loud a song that the child can listen. So, being very curious, the poet asks all such things, all these questions from the wind because he cannot see the wind. I hope that you have understood the explanation of stanza number 3 as well.